Good morning everybody. Welcome to Barnard Castle Cemetery. It's a place I should know well because I grew up here and it's my hometown, but I know very little of this particular cemetery's history. I have been in a couple of times over the years, but not really looked at headstones or anything like that. So as a kid we used to, after football practice, used to dare each other to run to that gate and back to the main road here, because at that point the cemetery chapel wasn't a house. It's actually now a house. As you can see, it's got a lovely tower. I don't know what people think about living in the middle of a cemetery, which you literally are. You are surrounded by the cemetery itself, but at least it's looked after. First thing you notice when you're coming on the left, the famous name from the Great War, Passchendaele, scene of mass slaughter. That's John Burkitt Derrington of the Honourable Artillery Company. There's only one headstone I do remember from this particular cemetery, and that is about 3 brothers who died in the Great War, which is around here somewhere. Quite a large cemetery. There's actually 3 separate cemeteries in this particular area, all close to each other. One's a Catholic one is this one, but then there's another one which has all the current burials, but it does have some from like the 1800s. I've never understood which order they were done and so on. I should really know, but you've got, in loving memory of Private Herbert Evans, 6th Durham Light Infantry, died of wounds in France, April the 4th, 1917, aged 32 years old. Barnard Castle is a town in southwest Durham. There are quite a few villages surrounding it and hamlets, so it didn't just cover the town, it covered all these little places. But quite close to Barnard Castle there are lots of parish churches themselves for little villages: Bowes, Starforth, Cutherston, Rommelkirk, Eggleston, Butler Knoll, Cockfield, Staindrop, Winston. So you get some people who are split between, like, they might live at Staindrop but the roots are in Barnard Castle and so on. So this is the one about the Jemison brothers. Look, Private Fred Jemison, killed in action at St Quentin, 1918, 23-year-old. Thomas Jemison died of wounds at Etretat. I can't remember if that was somewhere out in the Middle East or Turkey. And then George Edwin Jemison, RF, who killed in a flight accident in Russia in 1919. It's 9 years. It's often forgotten. Involvement of the Great War by the British troops out in Russia, particularly in the Great War and at the end of it during the Civil War. There's another one, G.A. Murray, Royal Engineers. There's actually quite a few mentions of the Great War and the headstones around this particular area. I've just noticed when I was waiting to start the video. There's quite a few. You see, it's well maintained, especially this particular area, because I suppose it is somebody's garden, isn't it? If you have a look, it's quite densely packed in. You get lots of names of houses in Barnard Castle and little hamlets. See, Glamis House, Barnard Castle. I have no idea where that particular house is. I suppose maybe nowadays some of the names are not used anymore. What a lovely name. This is members of the Scarth family. Look at that. Also of Gypsy, aged 19 years, a dearly beloved daughter of the above. And then another mention of Raymond, this time Raymond Maltby, 17th daylight, died November the 8th, 1917. Gypsy. I'll have a look on that once I've finished. Gypsy Scarth, she was called. Oh, there's another Mention of Jemisons. I think they were from just outside Barnard Castle, around like the Stainton Village area. Let's have a look. Thomas Milner of Victoria Terrace, Barnard Castle. I don't even know where Victoria Terrace is. The cemetery's on Victoria Road. Possibly that was just the name given to a part of Victoria Road in the past. I can see another DLI mention. Mention of a family member, William John Atkinson of Spittal, Old Spittal, Bowes, Yorkshire. Now it's now carried out. He was accidentally killed on the train near Kanajahari, New York State. Like most places that time, a lot of people left here and headed off to the colonies. That's a beautiful memorial. An angel. That would have cost a fortune. Just going to go around. As you can see, this place is literally the garden for whoever owns this house. Plus, as people can come into it. Public footpaths as well. See, there's lots of mentions of these little places which are a few miles away, like there's Etherley, that's near Cockfield, somebody of Butterknowle. There's a mention of West Shores, which is a little hamlet outside Barnard Castle. Somebody else later of Timpton Hill, a place I've never heard of. You do find lots in here, I've noticed, of mentions of particular place names. So if you can go, a lot of the cemeteries you go to, especially in like city areas like in Sunderland, you do get the odd mention, but not as many as this, particularly probably because it's like a rural area. That's a good surname. Cust. I do find lots of distinct surnames in Barnard Castle and in the cemeteries around here. Possibly because it had like a large influx of people in the 1800s from all over. There was a carpet industry by the river. So look at some of the names here. I don't recognise. It's a grand tomb. There are a few more headstones which are hidden in there, I can see. It's a grand tomb. But, oh, see this available. Oh, somebody from my neck of the woods. Henry Eggleston, solicitor, late of Monk Wearmouth. That's something I've not seen before. That is a circular metal fence to protect the grave. Look at that. It's like something from back in the early 1800s to stop grave robbers. That one. It's going to be torch out, so it's getting a little bit darker. Yes, I see it. Catches my eye. Haven't found many epitaphs so far, possibly because there's a lot of Methodist chapels in the area, so they probably wanted to keep things simple and not go in for all the fancy epitaphs and so on. You can see something over there, a pink headstone. And also see this grand one for a couple of the members of the Kyle family. I think that was probably the Kyle family who were builders in the town. There's a Kyle's yard, and that Thomas Borrowdale, one of his family, ended up coming to Sunderland and became one of the leading monumental masons in the town. You might have heard of them, Borrowdale Brothers. Did thousands of headstones across Sunderland. This is the one. I can see it a mile off. That. It's pink. I don't know if it's turned pink or if it was originally pink. It's probably a lot brighter if it was back in the day. That's for members of the Harwood family. I hope it isn't going to rain. I'm going to walk down here. This place you could literally spend hours in researching some of these particular headstones. Lots of, look, another DLI man. Perkins family. I want one epitaph. Just give me one epitaph. Something. That one's gone away, but look. That was just TP 1880. Just initials in the year of likely death. Somebody else killed in action in France. Oh, memory of Thomas Green, late Sergeant, 3rd Dragoon Guards, who died October the 3rd, 1875. Aged 60 years. Another Harwood, probably the same. Minican families. I think there was a Minican. The name still exists today in Barnard Castle. There was a Minican, I think it was a landlord on the bank in town. As you can see, the trees in the distance, probably on about 250 metres away. That is the grounds of the Bowes Museum. That's to give you some idea of the location where we are today. Now, I'm just going to head over. Now, the second part of this cemetery, I'm guessing this was an extension at some point where they've made the fill, because in here is all like 1950s, 60s, 1940s. So I'm guessing this was an extension at some point. I'm not going to look at these because these are quite relatively new. I only look at old ones. But I'm going to make an exception for one over here because it's one of the members of my family, so I don't mind. The guy is my great-great-grandfather, Joseph Robert Golin. Now, he was born in Penrith around 1869. I think died 1964 in Barnard Castle. And at one point, he was Barnard Castle's oldest man. He had an interesting life. He was born over in Westmoreland. His mother was a lady called Mary Fisher from Westmoreland as well, I think near Walkup. And she married a guy called George Golin, who was a tailor. And the two of them, there was a bit of an age gap, and they went off to Gretna to get married. So, as you can see, or a lifespan from like 1869, I think it was, to 1964. So think of all the changes that he saw. They had him and his wife Agnes, again, she was from Westmoreland, Agnes Coward. They had 11 children, 3 died in infancy, but the 8 that survived lived to. One of them, my great grandmother, was 101, I think, when she died. Another sister lived to 100. Another 3 of them died in the 90s, 2 died in the 80s, and the youngest was 76. Now, Agnes, well, Joseph started off, he was a cabman, like a taxi driver with horse and cart, going around Barnard Castle in a carriage, picking people up. Now, Agnes sadly had to go into Sedgefield Lunatic Asylum. So did her sister, and also did the sister of Joseph. So the 3 people who were quite close to him all went to the lunatic asylum, and they all sadly passed away, died, and I believe they're all buried in the graveyard for the asylum. So he had to bring up the 8 kids. He did loads of jobs. He was a labourer and so on through the years. I'm related to him on my mum's side, but my dad remembers him because he used to live in the same street as him as a child in like the 1950s and the 60s, old man Golin. But my great gran as a child could remember he used to go off on the steam train to Sedgefield for some reason, and that's the reason it would have been for, was to visit the mother. There's a good Teesdale name, Rain Chat. And sadly one of the Chat family there killed in killed in action, Great War, 1915. One of the family, born in Barnard Castle, ended up, I think, playing for Aston Villa in an FA Cup final in the early 1900s. I only played one game for Barnard Castle, so my footballing career wasn't as good as his. I'm just going to come to the edge of the cemetery just to bring the video to a close. I would like to have spent a lot more time here, but I'm visiting relatives again. Somebody mentions another place. That person was of Brotherton in Yorkshire. Meldon House, Barnard Castle. Another house, no idea where that is. Still disappointed, no epitaphs. Cat spying on us. More Harwood. There is a village, like a hamlet called Harwood at the top of the dale near Cowgreen Reservoir. Find one more. As you can see, we're just right next to a main road. Town centre is just a few hundred metres down the road, so I'll leave you with one last view of Barnard Castle Cemetery. I'll probably have to do another video of the other 2 cemeteries at some point next time I'm through. So thank you very much for watching. If you did like it, please give it a like or click on the subscribe button. Thank you very much.